After the crushing Crusader defeat at the Battle of Hattin in July 1187, Sultan Salahuddin Ayyubi knew the time had come to march towards the ultimate goal of his jihad, the liberation of Jerusalem. For nearly 90 years, the city of the prophets had remained under Crusader rule. Ever since its bloody capture in 1099, Muslims still remembered how tens of thousands of men, women, and children had been massacred in those streets. For Salahuddin, Jerusalem was not just a city. It was a sacred trust, and its liberation was his life's mission. By late September 1187, Salahuddin's army reached the gates of Jerusalem. The Crusader garrison was led by Battle of Hattin, a noble knight who had survived Hattin. Inside the city were tens of thousands of Christians, soldiers, priests, women, and children, terrified of what might happen, for they knew the bloodshed their own ancestors had committed when they captured the city decades earlier. Many feared that Salahuddin would take revenge in the same way. Salahuddin laid siege to the city, surrounding it from all sides. His engineers began bombarding the walls with siege machines, while his soldiers launched repeated attacks on the fortifications. For days, fierce fighting raged at the walls. The defenders resisted bravely, but they were outnumbered and morale was low. The people of Jerusalem saw Salahuddin's banners rising outside and realized that their days of rule were ending. Battle of Hattin sought to negotiate with Salahuddin. At first, Salahuddin refused leniency, recalling the massacre committed by the Crusaders in 1099. But Battle threatened that if the Muslims did not offer terms, the defenders would burn down the city, destroy the mosques and holy sites, including the Dome of the Rock and Masjid al-Aqsa, and kill all the Muslim prisoners inside before fighting to the death. Salahuddin, known for both wisdom and mercy, realized that a bloodbath would desecrate the holy city. He agreed to grant terms of surrender. On October 2, 1187, Jerusalem officially surrendered to Salahuddin. But unlike the Crusaders 88 years earlier, Salahuddin showed extraordinary compassion. He declared that no harm would come to civilians. Christians could remain in the city under Muslim rule, or leave safely if they wished. A ransom was fixed for each person's freedom: 10 dinars for men, 5 for women, and 1 for children. Those too poor to pay were freed out of charity. Many Christian leaders and priests were astonished by this generosity. The contrast was stark. In 1099, the Crusaders had slaughtered tens of thousands, filling the streets with blood. In 1187, Salahuddin's army entered the city without revenge or massacre. Churches were respected, Christian worship continued, and pilgrims were promised safety. The Jews, who had been expelled by the Crusaders, were invited back by Salahuddin to live once again in the holy city. One of the most emotional moments came when Salahuddin entered Masjid al-Aqsa. For nearly a century, no Muslim prayer had been heard within its walls. The Crusaders had converted it into a church and even used parts of it as a stable. Salahuddin ordered it to be cleansed and restored. The carpets were laid, Qurans were placed inside, and on that historic Friday the Adhan call to prayer echoed once more across Jerusalem, bringing tears to the eyes of Muslims everywhere. The Dome of the Rock, too, was purified and decorated, shining once again as a symbol of Islam. The conquest of Jerusalem by Salahuddin became one of the most admired events in history, not only in the Muslim world, but also in Christian Europe. Even his enemies marveled at his mercy, justice, and honor. Many Crusaders returned home telling stories of the noble Sultan who spared their lives and allowed them to leave with dignity. Thus Salahuddin Ayyubi fulfilled his dream. He restored Jerusalem to Islam, not by cruelty but by justice. His conquest remains a lesson for the world, that true greatness is not only in military power, but in the ability to show mercy when victory is in one's hands.